Hello everyone and welcome to one of the absolute classic venues for mountain bike racing, Val Di Sole, Trentino, here in a stunning corner of Italy. My name's Rick McLaughlin and we are here for a full day's worth of UCI mountain bike cross country Olympic World Cup racing. We're going to kick things off with the women under 23, the fourth round of the World Cup this season. Sunny today, unlike yesterday where rain moved up and down the Valley of the Sun. And I think it is only going to get hotter out there. Well, under 23 women making their way to the start line then. Ella McLean-Howell, really having a standout season so far, the young Brit.
Thank you. Yeah, of course.
Noelle Burry. So the umbrellas are up for a very different reason, as I say, compared to yesterday during the downhill. My goodness, what a day of downhill racing we had. Check out the highlights of that. Szysinska for MMR Factory. Ginia Kaluri. We've yet to see her take to the top step this season, but get the feeling it mightn't be a million miles off. Samara Maxwell then, really impressive last time out. Joining me in the booth is Bart Brenchens.
Good morning, Rick.
Good morning, Bart. Bright and early. Sleep well last night?
Yes, it was, but there was also a big party going on from the downhill yesterday
Always
evening.
A big party for the downhillers in Val Di Sole. Noemi Garnier then takes to the start line. Yeah, between all the shouting I had to do yesterday and your lack of sleep, we might need to get some coffee into this booth. But under 23 women, always a good race here at World Cup level and a good track. But this woman has written her name large across the season so far. Sophie Heavy Patterson for Villiers Pirelli.
Especially here in Italy, fighting for her home sponsor.
Yeah, all the sponsors will be out. That gives you an idea of how warm it is. The umbrellas are already out. Ronja Blurklinger then won the short track earlier in the weekend for Liv Factory Racing. Yet to see her really go the distance cross-country Olympic. Here are your start list then. Blurklinger, Patterson, Garnier, Maxwell, Kaluri, Szysinska, Burry, McLean-Howell, Boehm and Wiedmann. Cuthbert, Monroe, Duraford, Spesna, Van Thiel, Huber, Portanovis for Italy. What can she do today?
She's a very strong climber,
Yeah.
Sara Cortinovis.
She could go well today. The Italian riders always tend to produce the goods for their home rounds.
And this course here in Val Di Sole has a lot of climbing involved.
A lot of climbing here indeed in Trentino. Say a full day packed full of cross-country racing. Under 23 women going to get us underway. Then under 23 men, the powder keg that always is that race. And then it's into the elite women and the elite men later in the afternoon.
One start lap plus 4 laps for the women under 23.
Yep, start lap as ever. If you're new to cross-country racing, just thins them out before heading out onto the lap proper to avoid any pile-ups. 30 seconds or so now until the start. Sophie Heavy Patterson, poker-faced as ever. They're under starters orders now on the red lights. Oh, Ronja Blurklinger fancied getting away early there, but they are off and they are racing here in Val Di Sole, Trentino. Who is going to lead them out on the start loop first?
Oh, and a big crash in the middle of the field.
Big crash in the middle of the field. Sophie Heavy Patterson away cleanly though.
Yeah, that section on the grass, it's very bumpy.
Yeah,
white handlebars close together.
Yeah.
And then the small mistake is easily made. And you can see here a few riders went down. Luckily, not too bad. They're all continuing. now.
Chaos at
They
the
lost
back of the
some
field.
time.
Well, head up to the drone shot now, and you can see out front Sophia Patterson in that red jersey, Gina Kaluri, Ronja Bertlinger, they're all in attendance at the front of this one.
Sweet Cuthbert, also a good start she has in the pink jersey. And this start, and here we see it in the middle of the group. A crash,
Yeah,
a couple of riders ran down.
It's like road cycling, isn't it, Bart? It doesn't take much.
Yeah, I mean the grass over there, it's very bumpy and everybody likes to ride on the most smoothest part of the course, and yeah, it's easily done. A small mistake, they hit each other and then they went down. But it seems to be everyone's back on the bike and they have a little bit of time now to come back to the peloton, to the main group.
Alexa Fuchs caught up in that one.
And this is the start loop. This is also the original course, actually.
Really?
The second part of the course. If you are faced to the mountain, you can, yeah, you have actually two different loops. The right side, that's the second loop. It brings you back to the finish line, and the left side, that's the first loop. And the first loop, it's much more technical. There's more climbing involved, and the second loop, it goes more gradual. Like it brings the riders almost to the same elevation at the end.
Really steep climb this to get things going on the start loop.
And here, especially these hairpins, it's difficult for the riders to ride next to each other.
Lurtlinger leads them then.
Yeah, good start for Ronja Blocklinger.
We've seen her have good starts already this season, but she just seems she can fade as the race goes on. Really powerful rider, loves the short track, but
Very strong, yeah.
yet to really shine over the Olympic distance.
Yeah, she's still very young, and it's good to see she's performing better and better all the time.
Behind them, Burry, Cuthbert, Garnier, McLean Howell, Sadnik, Chisinska, Ramati, and Kortanovis in 10th now, Bart.
Yeah, she's a strong climber, Sarah Kortanovis, riding for the Villiers Pirelli team. No, she's for Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz Rock Shots Pro Team, yeah.
But I expect she will having a good race here, especially in Homsal.
Yeah, it always seems to inspire the best out of the Italian racers racing at home in Italy.
And this climb, it goes with some steeper parts in it and also some faster sections in it, but it goes up all the way.
I have
here with the number 6 on her bike, that's Sarah Kortanovis.
Yeah, in the sort of light green jersey, there's the national champion of the USA.
Tamara Wittmann with the number 17 on her back, Future Racing.
Madigan Monroe in that number 10 with the stars and stripes on her back.
Gina Kaluri, she didn't have her best start. She was pushing hard now to come back to the front.
We've seen her come good towards the end of races this year, though. She really battles back, doesn't she? Maybe not the fastest starter, but
it goes fast immediately from the start, as you can see already. The field is spread out.
McLean Howell now in the red, white, and blue of Great Britain, right in the front of this one as well.
Strong ride of her. It's good to see that.
She's having a great season.
She's the youngest, the first year under 23.
There is Kaluri in the red jersey, number 3 on her back. So
she's moving forwards very quickly again.
One of the pre-race favourites getting back on the front with the leaders. There she is, coming into shot now.
Yeah, almost back to the leading group. There's Ronja Blocklinger, who is still leading here in that first part. Almost on the highest point of that first loop.
Ronja Blocklinger on the number 2 Liv bike in the red national champions jersey of Switzerland. Won the short track earlier in the weekend, as I say.
Peter Hippelsen second place, Noel Burry on third. Louis Garnier in the black jersey.
Going through this rock section. It does reward descending and technical capabilities, this place as well, Bart, as well as that all-white power.
Yeah, that big rock garden, is what you can see over there, that's last year new rebuild. They made it a bit wider, but it's not too difficult, but it's very rough part of the course.
Lurtlinger really descending strongly there and separating that front group out, but they might just come back together as they head back towards the second half of the lap. Yeah, it's been a year or two since I rode a few laps of this place, but that was always my impression of it. Very wide, steep, not that nice climbs, but you've got to be technically on your game as well. There's plenty of opportunity for disaster out there.
Yeah, I mean, that especially that first loop, it's a very technical part of the course, but also a very technical course in general. I mean, it goes up and down all the time. There's a lot of climbing involved, but very steep climbing and also roots and rocks. And it's because of it has been very dry for a long time. We had some rain the last couple of days, but that didn't affect the course too much. But because of the very dry ground, it became much rougher during the week when the riders went on course. And you will see later how hard it is for the riders to stay on their bike and also to make it perfectly.
It's quite energy sapping. Even this sort of section here, it's very choppy, very lumpy.
Yeah, there's no asphalt on this course. Sometimes we see a start-finish straight with a little bit of asphalt, time to relax, but it's bumpy all the way. Here also on the grass. That all costs a little bit of energy.
It is, of course, on that start-finish straight part that a little bit of mountain bike history was made. I once out-sprinted Annika Langvad.
Yeah, it is.
I did, yeah. I was on a course preview. She didn't see it coming, but I went.
And she
had no answer for it, yeah. I said, I don't think she tried, but...
Oh, we have seen more sprints actually here on this finish line.
A lot of photo finishes here, a lot of close finishes.
Against Jolanda Never, remember?
Even in the short track on Friday evening, Puck Petersen against Laura Steger came down to a photo
very tight finish.
What happened? It looks like Puck's bike got kicked or...
Got kicked a little bit into the air, and then maybe she lost just a little bit of a momentum, maybe a split second, and Laura Steger, she won the short track.
She got the job done. Steger, yeah, superb ride from her. We'll see more of her in the elite women's race later on as they head out onto the lap proper now.
So here they are on the first climb, the first loop. I Peter Hipperson, Ronja, Blocklinger, Tamara, Sammy Maxwell on third place.
I tell you what, Bart, I think these under 23 women are going to have the best of the conditions today because it feels like it's going to get hotter and hotter.
Yeah, you're right with that. 25 degrees they expect, and very sunny conditions, and especially here around the start-finish area. So at the bottom of that ski slope, the finish of the downhill, it's very warm up there. It's hot.
Well, superb news. I have a new set of sunglasses and I have air conditioning in the commentary booth, so all's well in my wee world.
No complaints.
No complaints. There is Sahara Cortinovis then on the Santa Cruz. Heading back towards the front group now, Cortinovis, bridging that gap.
Let's see, Peter Hibberson, she's still leading.
Ellen McLean-Hoyle looking good as well at the front of this bike race. 4 laps then for the under 23 women. Just looking out the window of the commentary booth and all the fans filling this place
so
already.
Two different lines here. You can see the split line. The right side goes over these rocks and left. I wouldn't call it a B line. I think just the left side is even much faster. So why not taking the fastest line?
Well, somebody who has taken the fastest line all year long, Sophie Patterson, in front at the minute. Blurtlinger will have nightmares about watching her scamper away from her in Leogang at the last round. They'll all be keeping her maybe slightly more pegged back than the room she was allowed to operate in.
Clean hole, very strong ride of her. Here's Sarah Cortinovis. What can she do today here in Italy? Sonja Blocklinger again in the lead. Very steep sections.
Horrible steep pinch up here.
Working hard, everyone, with their body as well, upper body. Also over there, 2 different lines. In between these trees, actually, it's a really nice section for photos. And looks really nice.
They've really evolved the track here, haven't they, over the years in Val Di Sole?
Yeah, they find some new paths into this forest to build into this course.
Zoe Cuthbert in the pink, just at the bottom of your screen now, heading up this. And Blurtlinger has retaken the lead here.
As you can see, it's also very technical climbing here on this course.
The Swiss flags flying for Blurtlinger.
Yeah.
I think that one actually has Nino written on it. Wonder who that's for. We will see, of course, the greatest of all time, Nino Schurter, on track later on this afternoon in the elite men's race.
And you can see the course here, it's completely dry again, even with the rain. We had some showers the last few days, but it didn't affect the course that much. And for the first time, a very technical descent, very rough, a lot of rocks and roots everywhere. The riders, they have to be very supple and fast. You can see loose rocks as well over there. That's Ronja Bloklinger, who is pushing hard on these sections. This is also probably the most difficult corner of the whole course, and you can see a little bit of a mistake of her, Ronja.
Yeah,
and
just
Patterson foot out.
And you can see some of that almost smoke-like dust that just litters this hillside. And we saw it, big presence in the downhill race yesterday, just making the course so difficult to read throughout. And some sections were wet, other sections were that sort of really just smoky, as I say, like dust. And a really hard to read place, this part, I always think. It's difficult to know where the grip is, and sometimes...
Yeah, you have to find the grip in between the rocks and in between the roots. Yeah, you have to find your momentum, where to push hard and where to actually to lift yourself a little bit over these rocks and over these roots.
We saw it come good at the end of the elite men's race in the downhill yesterday. There is a magic amount of moisture on the ground in Val Di Sole that actually makes it perfect and extremely fast, but it's a very fine tipping point, too much moisture, and it just goes very glassy and very sort of just washy. Look, too little, and as we see, super dry, really difficult going.
And as you can see as well how hard this course is, it goes up and down all the time. There's no time to rest, no time to recover in the descents even, because yeah, these are also very technical, and also on these sections the riders, they have to work really hard.
Sarah Cortinovas on number 6 Santa Cruz, followed by Zoe Cuthbert in the pink. Noemi Garnier behind them. Kaluri with her.
Yeah, the red jersey.
The red jersey.
Ginio Colori.
But Blurtlinger going well at the front.
And this is also a very steep climb, actually the longest climb of that first loop.
Oh, it's harrowing.
Brings the riders to the highest point, and also on that, if they are reach the highest point of that first loop, there's a very drop off, so it means a big rock where the riders have to go steep down.
It's really steep actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
Perilous.
And especially to do that with your highest heart rate, the riders will reach on that point. And then they have to adjust everything on the handlebar, shifting, dropper seat post down.
Yeah, we discussed this. You can actually see in that shot just how many levers and controls are on the handlebars of these cross-country bikes these days. And all of them, riders operating almost on autopilot, aren't they? We are dropper seat post, which allows the saddle to go up and down. You've got your different suspension modes that you can toggle through, both brakes obviously, gear selection. It's kind of a dance you're doing with your thumbs for the whole race, whilst your heart rate's through the roof.
And most of the time, and more we see also everything without cable, so Bluetooth, so electronic, dropper seat post without a cable.
You can see the left-hand side of the bars there on Noël Bury's bike. Like a very lightweight forklift truck, the amount of levers on these things.
Noemi Garnier from France, the number 8. She's taking actually the wider lane, the B line.
See
call it like that.
How loose the A line is.
For Noël Bury, no problem. She took the shortest, the steepest part. Ellen McLean-Howell, here she is.
A very, very interesting chat with Pauline Ferrand-Prévot earlier in the weekend, an interview coming up that you will see at the start of the Elite Women's race. And that was one of the things that she discussed, is that her first 3 or 4 laps of any track, she will only ride the B lines.
I think it's smart. You have to be careful. You see more often that riders, I would say almost they kill themselves in training because they're taking too many risks. Also yesterday morning it was a little bit wet early in the morning because of the rain from the night before. And then why taking so many risks in training instead of waiting when the course it will be dry anyway on Sunday?
Well, Pauline's thinking as well was that it means that if it does rain in the middle of the race or conditions are different, you've got those smoother lines down, you know all them, you don't have to take the risks of the A lines.
And also sometimes you have crashes in the A line that you have to ride the B line.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, they don't get much more sharp in terms of operators than Pauline Ferrand-Prévot. These two are kind of making off at the front now. Blurtlinger and Sophie Heavy-Patterson.
Into that second loop.
There is that gap then back to third place.
Yeah, a little bit of work to do. Blurtlinger is looking strong.
Samara Maxwell in third place. The Kiwi battling to get back across to these two. Had an absolutely stellar ride in Leogang, Samara Maxwell.
Yeah, on this course actually you need to have the power here for these sections. You need to be a strong climber, but also technically you need to be very strong. So yeah, the full package for a good result here in Val Di Sole.
It really is. In Leogang last time out we saw a course that really rewarded climbers, but this place it's a lot more of an all-rounders course, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of climbing involved also on this course, but I would say in a different way. It's more, definitely much more technical, this course. The descents are very rough and bumpy. And also, yeah, you need to have a lot of power, especially for this second loop. So yeah, there's more involved here in the Val Di Sole.
Plenty going on in Val di Sole Trentino then. A full day's worth of absolutely captivating cross-country racing awaits. Under 23 women getting us underway here. Then we move to the powder keg that is the under 23 men's race. Who knows what will happen in that one? No one, not even the people racing in it. And then after that we head to the elite women's race, and the elite men's follows soon after that. So as I say, busy day of cross-country racing. Hope you have your spot booked on the sofa at home.
When we are blocking off, riding for the Lift factory team. Sophie Patterson, second place, and Sammy Maxwell now on third. Back to the leaders.
Sammy Maxwell, superb second place last time out in Leogang. Really impressed a lot of people with that result, just pipping Gina Kaluri on that final descent.
Here we have Naomi Garnier and Noelle Burry.
And there is pressure on these young racers, Bart, as well, because this is where you start to make your name for yourself. This is where you get the attention of the teams and the sponsors.
It is, yeah. These younger categories, they are fighting hard for a spot in the elite mountain bike elite teams. But some of them, they are already a member of these teams, or like a development team, like the Track Future Racing is, for example.
Yeah, Track Future Racing, superb setup designed to really foster young talent. Samara Maxwell has come across now back to the front of this race to join these front two.
10th place for Sina van Tiel, Germany. Naomi Garnier, black kids. Noelle Burry.
You can hear how hard they're working up this climb.
It is. This is also a very steep section. And then after it, it's a little bit less steep here. They can a little bit more steep. And also these little punchy climbs into that long, gradual climb. Yeah, riders, it goes with a little bit more speed and then steep again. So they have to get out of the saddle, pushing hard to the top, and then continuing their ride.
Looked like she just put a bit of pressure on up that little pinch just to see, I guess, what the response would be behind her. Sophie Heavy-Patterson had it covered.
Yeah, we have seen a lot of battles also on this part of the course in the previous years when riders were still close together when it came down to the last lap.
Yeah, famously, as you say, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot versus Jolanda Neff, where Pauline just got in front
but
of
I
her.
remember also Nino Schurter with Matthias Flückiger.
That's right, yeah.
Battling for who is going first down into that last descent to the finish.
I think you could basically say Nino Schurter versus Matthias Flückiger on any track. There's been a classic race between those two. Here they come into this little fast descent then. Full chat down here.
But also these three, they look quite equal in strength today to each other.
This rock garden, they've made it wider as well over the years, and full chat now. It used to be quite sort of nibbly to pick your way down it.
This bridge, I don't like it that much. I mean, it's nicely built, but riders carry on a lot of speed on top, and then that
A big descent down
Yeah,
it. Yeah, you drop off it with some speed.
You do.
Blurtlinger just jumping off that bridge to generate a little bit of speed, and then you're back out into onto the power sapping grass section.
And now they slow down a little bit. They take their time for their drinks, their nutrition, probably a gel for Sophie. You can see
Sammy Maxwell just trying to get her wheel in front, establishing herself at the front of the race for the first time now. Samara Maxwell from New Zealand.
Yeah, 3 riders riding closely together. And here you can see this is the tech feed zone on the left side, whereas Sammy Maxwell is in, and also Ronja Bloklinger and Sophie Patterson not taking anything.
So this is where the riders can get a drink and some food if they need it, and they can also get technical assistance in there as well.
And as you can see, it's a little bit slower. Maybe you have to make a little bit of a turn before you're entering the main course again.
Honestly, I just remember that flat grass section just being so power sapping that you can't, it feels like you're going backwards. It's like riding on Velcro, and it's so bumpy and disturbs your rhythm.
Yeah.
There's nowhere around here, as you say, no asphalt. There's nowhere that's really comfortable.
No, it's true. Yeah, you have to work the whole lap everywhere. Domi Gagné and Noelle Burry behind her.
Burry just getting some water over the front of her top as well. Maybe an indication that it is heating up outside the commentary booth. Van Thiel then leads
Cordovis, 6th place.
Kaluri and McLean Howell. Zoe Cuthbert dropping back off that group a little bit. In your shot now.
Zoe Cuthbert, here she is, 10th place.
They climb up this little 4-cross track section and head onto this absolutely lung-busting climb.
And also this climb, this part of the course, when it's dry, this comes very loose.
Yeah.
This gravel
That's
uphill.
Yeah, it's one of those places that, I mean, we saw it in Leogang as well. Whenever the surface gets that dry and loose, it's actually quite hard to get any kind of forward momentum, to not spin the wheel.
Yeah, so that's also why you don't see them out of the saddle, because if you're going out of the saddle to push hard, your wheel will slide away actually immediately, so that you don't find any grip. But also on this course, the tire pressure is very crucial. Probably most of the riders they are with insert in the rear wheel, especially for these downhills where there are a lot of rocks, and that insert will avoid some pinch flat.
Yeah, the insert's kind of like a pool noodle that go inside the tire, just helps protect the rim. Cross-country bikes run a very, very low tire pressure, and the idea is for surfaces like this, it gives them a chance for the tire to deform and actually provide a bit more grip. And it's actually counter to what your brain might tell you. Actually, you think a softer tire would have a lot more drag, but it's been tested extensively, and they're so lightweight, these tires and bikes, that they don't at all.
Yeah. The weight of the bikes, but also especially the tires, it's very important for the riders.
It's quite a relatively recent thing, Bart, isn't it? Your day you wouldn't have had a soft tire.
No, we had just, I think it was very standard. We put, in bar it was 2 bar in it.
Yeah.
And back 2 bar. And
there's not 2 bar between those 2 tires.
No, I think these days, the tire pressure what they are riding, it's about 1.1 maybe. It's to 1.2.
Yeah, very soft.
Very soft, yes. Yeah. It also depends the weight of the rider and also the preference. Some like that, but a little bit more hard or a little bit more soft.
I think, from what you would say, an amateur, normal in inverted commas mountain bikers experience, it always feels very strange when you do jump onto one of these bikes and the tires are so soft. It's an odd feeling, and whenever you go into a corner for the first time and you feel it move, and you've got to be careful with them.
An insert, so a noodle, will help as well for that it's not rolling that much over the rim.
Okay.
So it makes the tire a bit more stable.
I think it's Josh Bryson, the downhiller quote. He said, like, rolling the tire in a corner, it's the same feeling as pulling a fingernail back. And it's always stuck with me that. Well, the junior flags are waving for Junior Kaluri. She's a little bit further back than those fans would like at the minute.
She's looking strong. She's pushing hard. Now a small gap. She has already.
Blurtlinger, though, just making a bit of a move out the front there.
Yeah, looks like she loves this course.
It's so strange actually seeing not seeing Sophie Hebby Patterson at the front of this one. She's been so dominant this year.
Yeah, it is, but I mean also Ronja Bloklinger, she won the short track last Thursday. It was for the under 23 categories, and actually that short track course also is an indication for the cross country race, because that has a lot of climbing involved actually here in Val Di Sole.
It does. It's not. It is
not that flat.
Sometimes short track courses can be nothing like the cross country Olympic courses, but it really is a distilled version of this course. You can see that rock just moving.
Yeah, it's moving
quite loose.
Yeah, there's a couple of lines riders can choose, but definitely here next to that tree, that's the fastest line. You can see how rough it is, how big rocks there are everywhere.
Sammy Maxwell making short work of it.
And now these riders coming back in that most difficult corner of the whole course with that big tree root over there. Put out for Ronja, for Sophie.
Yeah, just tripoding their way through that slightly, and that's kind of the problem with this place. Those descents are very, very chattery, and if you get bobbled or stall once, you end up in trouble having to sort of try to keep the bike moving.
The riders have been practicing a lot the last few days here on this course to find the perfect line. And it's most of the time also, especially if there's a little bit of gaps in between the riders, they will stay on the line that they have been choosing in training and what feels the best for them.
Here we go, up this merciless little pinch.
But many places on this course has a couple of options to ride, different lines.
On the Red Bull Roots and Rules section.
Good name for this part of the course.
Yeah, it is. It's roots everywhere around here. Roots, rocks.
And it goes up and down.
Fans pouring into this place at the minute, getting ready for
Sammy Maxwell.
Big day of racing ahead. Sammy Maxwell in. She's been really, really impressive with the last few races.
Yeah. All the time on the podium.
Always smiling.
I would say a new face cross-country racing.
It's such a big commitment for those riders from the Southern Hemisphere, from Australia, New Zealand.
It is, yeah.
All the way over to Europe for the World Cup season.
I know, for example, also Zoe Cuthbert, she's living most of the time in a camper van, so very low budget, doing everything.
But that's what you have to do if you want to get on one of these big teams. You've got to serve your time, you've got to be at the races, and you've got to be impressing people.
Yeah, it's not the easiest for them, but they do it, and with some good results. Louis Garnier in the black jersey, riding for Scott. Here is Sina van Thiel. Back to the leaders.
Sina van Thiel, a very, very tough competitor. We've seen her have a couple of crashes this season and be right back in amongst it straight after them.
Sophie Patterson now back to Ronja again. And numbers 1 and 2 in the race. So maybe a little bit of a mistake she had made before. That's why she lost the contact, but now leading again.
Yeah, the front two just distancing Sammy Maxwell slightly now.
So a small gear here on this steep part, which brings the riders to the highest point of the course. With the saddle.
Both riders on that Fox 34 suspension fork. Gives you an idea of just how burly the cross-country bikes are getting. The 34mm, that refers to the thickness of the legs, the stanchions on that fork.
And also more and more 120mm suspension, front suspension we see these days.
So that's how much the wheel can move up and over obstacles. And
you see both now taking actually the longest version, the B line, which is less steep. Not for Sammy Maxwell, she's taking that inside line, very steep.
It's
very
tough that because
strong.
where that tree is in the centre of your shot, you need to release the brakes at that to carry any momentum out of it, and it's that dusty and loose. And
it would be nice to see that in more detail, but it's difficult
it's a
to
difficult
show
angle. But yeah, no, I remember that corner actually well because it's it's tricky because if you release the brakes at the right point, you ping out of it. It feels really fast, but at the same time, somebody might have been down it on the lap before you, skidded their way down it, and there's nothing but dust, and all of a sudden releasing the brakes isn't really an option.
But I think in the man under 23 category, we see most of them still doing that big drop.
Yeah, so mountain biking, you save up so much energy on the brakes, and if you manage to get off them at the right point of a descent, you release that energy and travel forward, but it has to be exactly the right point, otherwise.
Different positions again.
Yep, Blurtlinger and Patterson.
Yep, Sophie.
It's a great shot that gives you an idea of the gaps involved.
Sophie Patterson now leading, and Ronja Bloklinger second place.
12 seconds back from Maxwell.
Yeah, not that much off, and she might be able to come back again. Here on that more flat section of the course, and probably these two will slow down a little bit. Especially the riders, they don't like to work too hard here. You can have a little bit of advantage if you are sitting in a wheel of someone else in front of you. That always helps. But it shows an indication how strong these two are.
Yeah, they are out front then. Sylvia Patterson just has a glance, and Blurtlinger as well. They'll see it's just the two of them, for the time being anyway. Samara Maxwell looking like a tall order to get back over to them. 11 seconds though. It's not undoable.
Sophie Patterson is wearing that leader's jersey.
Yep, the red and white jersey of the under-23 World Cup overall points leader.
So that's the difference in between the numbers 1 and 2 and the third, chasing hard.
She already has an elite national title to her name at home in Denmark, and
in the elite category.
In the elite category, but how would she be racing on the 23, Bart, to try and get herself an under 23 Worlds jersey? Would that be the sort of thinking there?
She's still able to ride European Championships under 23 categories. It's actually next week in Portugal, in Anadia, where they had it last year as well. So I think for Sophie Patterson, she has to go to Europeans next week, but also she's able still to ride World Championships, and that's in about 6 weeks' time, I think it is, to ride in her own category.
Yeah.
Even if she does the national championships in the elite category, where she won the title.
Certainly her lap times in Leogang comparable to those off the elite level riders, so more than capable of mixing it up.
But also for these nations, the Olympic Games next year, the qualification, that's mostly done actually in the elite category. So probably for Sophie Patterson, she has to ride elite category next year to qualify herself for the Olympic Games for Denmark.
Yeah, cross-country racing, it is a sport dominated by those Olympic Games, and a lot of these athletes, they go in their 4-year cycles for the Olympics. They have to peak at the right time.
Yeah, and Denmark has a lot of strong riders. Marlene Degen,
yep,
and Caroline Bøje. So and Sophie Patterson, she's one of them too.
She's certainly making a good claim to qualify herself for those games.
Well, Bury now here with a small gap. Louis Garnier behind her in the black jersey. But well, Bury, here she is.
She is on the number 4 bike.
Fourth place.
You can see that suspension lockout just on the top of the left-hand side of her handlebars. That's a mechanical mode that lets her either lock the suspension completely out for climbing, open it up to like a halfway point, or open it up fully for descending.
And also all these riders, they are with a bike computer on the bike just to measure all the data, to analyze the races afterwards.
Yep, cross-country racing, all about the numbers.
Yeah, especially these days, it's all about numbers. Training, racing,
everything.
They have their trainers.
Well, we say that. We saw the short track, elite women's short track the other night. Rebecca Henderson said she'd just binned off the training and the calendar and the counting, and she was just doing what felt good.
Yeah, she was performing
She was
quite
doing really well, yeah.
So a first row start line for her. So we see that later at 1 o'clock today.
Happy rider's a fast rider, Bart.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to take the pressure off a little bit and just to enjoy riding your bike. And it seems to be a help for Rebecca Henderson.
Yeah, Rebecca Henderson, as Bart says, coming up later, the national champion of Australia will be contesting the elite women's race here in Val Di Sole, Trentino, as these two continue to do battle at the front.
Sophie Petter-Hillersen now.
There is that rock garden just begging to puncture a tyre or tear a sidewall. Heavy Patterson making light work of it.
Yeah, looking good. Over the first bridge, coming down into the start-finish area, and over the next bridge. And then just a few corners. Riders, they will try and find out how fast they have to be here on this section when it comes down to a sprint finish in between these two. There's still plenty of time before that will happen.
Yep, back together again.
Yeah, Samuel Maxwell now on 14 seconds, third place.
She is moving backwards a wee bit, Maxwell, with 11 seconds at this point on the last lap.
I think they're not going flat out, these two. Still some time. And it's a hard course.
Is there much communication between riders at the front of a bike race, Bart? Do they talk to each other, or is it
Not
kind
really,
of
no.
kind of body language?
Body language, yeah, that's the right word. Yeah, they're not talking really to each other. No.
And we saw
sometimes poker faces, for sure.
We saw a really interesting bit of that in the elite men's short track on Friday evening, whenever Matthias Flukiger and Lukas Schwarzbauer came together and bumped each other, and Flukiger actually took his hand off the bars and waved a kind of apology at Schwarzbauer to say that was my fault.
Yeah, I mean, what we already said before, also on a bumpy course like it is here around the start-finish straight, yeah, things like that are easily made dumb.
I still maintain that, yeah, a Lukas Schwarzbauer in full race mode, I'd probably apologise to him as well, just in case.
Yeah,
what a season the German rider is having. More of him later in the afternoon.
And better every time in cross-country racing too.
Yeah, not just a short. I
think it's a matter of time before he will win his first cross-country race.
He burst onto our screens really like last year as a short track. There is fourth place then.
So Cuthbert. No, it says Noelle Burry, sorry.
Noelle Burry just distanced herself out into the tech feed zone. Yeah, Schwarzbauer burst onto our screens last year, kind of a short track specialist, but every race he just seems to be getting better and better.
Yeah, he's leading most of the time in the beginning of these races, in the cross-country races, and he kept on going with that high speed for longer and longer every time.
Ellen McLean-Howell then in the red, white and blue of GB.
Sara Cortinova is now on fourth place, the Italian rider.
Cortinova's then 121 back. She's got a long race towards the front of it, but she has got some time to do it, 2 laps.
A minute to the podium. Sina Van Tiel now 6th place.
Maxwell 22 seconds back now off Blurtlinger, so these two starting to make a case that one of them is going to win it.
Interesting, that chasing group. But these two are looking strong. I have the feeling that there's still a bit left in their legs.
Yeah, I kind of feel that we are going to see the speed really, really erupt on maybe the final lap. They seem pretty equally matched at the minute.
Stuart Cuthbert on the 11th place right now.
The number 5 bike then is Samara Maxwell.
From New Zealand.
On that giant. Behind her is Noelle Burry, and then Sara Cortinovis. It's now back in 5th. So Burry, the Swiss rider, and the Italian having their own little duel.
Here we see it as well. Now these two, the leaders, they're taking also that B line, I would say, the A line with the rocks. It's a bit shorter. but also more difficult to ride, and also maybe more dangerous as well for like a pinch flat. So that's why they avoid that section and taking the faster and more safely B-line.
And if you're racing, oh, I see a move now.
Yeah. Looks like an attack.
Yeah, Sophie Heavy Patterson.
Yeah. Good move from her.
Ronja Blurtlinger works hard to cancel it out.
Yeah, out in the saddle, pushing hard to come back to her wheel. That's what she does. And here it goes up and down all the time. A lot of turns into this course as well. Sophie Patterson.
She looks like she's having a good dig here, Bart.
Yeah.
Putting a bit of effort in.
Yeah, in the previous lap it was actually Ronja Blurtlinger who was leading with a small gap.
Blurtlinger has to be careful here because Sophie Heavy Patterson does have the firepower to keep going with these attacks, as we've seen this season already.
24 seconds for Sammy Maxwell.
Yeah, that gap doubled now.
She's working hard.
A lap and a half. She is working hard still, though.
Drop the seat goes down for her here as well when the course goes down.
She's got over a minute ahead of Bury at the minute, Samara Maxwell, so needs to keep it safe.
So a small gap in between these two now. But it looks like Ronja Blurtlinger is coming back.
How much of a bar is like line of sight? Do you know what I mean? Just is there a certain point if a rider just gets that little bit further in front of you?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah. Mentally, that's the breaking point, I would say.
Yeah.
So as long as you have the feeling that you can close the gap again, and especially now, maybe there's a little bit time to relax. It looks like Ronja, she's very strong in the descents, and if she can make it smooth, she's able to come back to. Sophie Heavy Patterson. But you see, Sophie now is moving away a little bit. But of course, if they're under pressure, a small mistake is easily done. Tamara Wiedmann, number 17.
So it's Patterson, Blurtlinger, Maxwell, Bury, Van Thiel, McLean Hoyle, Cordonovas and Darnier. That's your top 8. 1 minute 35 seconds covering them.
That means the speed goes up, the gap's getting bigger.
And that's Tamara Wiedmann, the Track Future Racing, and that Thiel kit.
Sophie Heavy Patterson now with a small gap. It looks like it's getting a little bit bigger.
We've seen
that much in between these two.
This is classic Heavy Patterson, isn't it? It's never really the sort of out of the saddle massive attack. It is death by 1,000 cuts. She just keeps on turning.
Yeah, but also these sections are really difficult to make. Very steep out of the saddle, as Ronja Blurtlinger does right now. It's not easy at all, and also she doesn't have the power anymore for that.
No, but visibly she looks a lot weaker up there than Sophie Heavy Patterson did, and I just wonder if Blurtlinger will move back towards the clutches of Samara Maxwell.
9 seconds between these two only. Sammy Maxwell on 3rd place. Back to the leader. Oh, 2nd place, yes. 2nd.
Yep.
Ronja Blurtlinger.
Sits down, heads through that 2nd tech zone.
Yeah, that 2nd tech zone is only tech, no feet allowed over there. And the tech zone is very well placed because it's just after a lot of rocky sections.
Look how steep it is up there. Horrible.
It really is. Yeah. And it keeps on going. It's a long climb actually, that last climb of the first lap, first loop.
Extremely steep valley walls here in the Val Di Sole. You drive down the middle of it and it is just like being in a massive just tunnel of rock. It's a really, really steep place to go mountain bike racing. The famous Black Snake downhill track, one of, if not the very steepest that we go to all year. Incredible days downhill racing. Yes, that's why I can barely speak today, but head online to check out the highlights of that. I still got a bit of a day ahead of me, yeah, but what a race we had in the elite women's and the elite men's. It was absolutely superb, spellbinding stuff. At the front of this one then, Sophie Heavy Patterson. Yeah, as I say, Bart, we've seen her do this all season long. She can just winch this on all day.
What you said before as well, in perfect conditions still in this time of the day. Later on, definitely it will be much warmer for the elite categories.
I definitely think, yeah, the under 23 women, they're going to have, sometimes they get the track in its hardest form.
Also her sweat is getting off her face.
Yeah, sometimes they get it in its toughest condition whenever the overnight dew's on it, it's still wet and it hasn't dried out because they're the first out of the traps. But I think today, given the heat that they're predicting here in Val Di Sole later on today, they may well have the best run of it here, the under 23 women. I think we'll see the ice vests out pretty soon.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and also cooling with ice water, ice cubes in the neck.
Really, really tough to stay cool whenever you're operating at this kind of temperature and this kind of physical effort. Really fast down there.
Yeah, Patterson's looking strong.
Torturously slow up here. Tough going this climb, Bart.
Yeah, it's not an easy part of the course. Emily Johnson from Canada, also riding for the Track Future team. Sina van Tiel now leading that chasing group.
Yeah, it's still busy enough, this little group. Plenty of racing left in this one. Sarah Cortinovis is behind her.
And then we have Louis Garnier in the black jersey with the yellow helmet. There she is.
Garnier.
Sina van Tiel now leading here. Number 7 on her bike. Ella McLean Howell.
Yeah, in that
last rider of this group.
GB jersey. The back of this little group. Really running with the best in the world. There is Sarah Cortinovis.
Riding for the 4th place, this group.
Yep.
Yeah, impressive that they find each other again in a race like this on such a hard course.
Everybody up for the B line then, nobody dropping into that A line. You can see just how duffy and powdery that
yeah,
thing
and
is.
It's getting actually more difficult because most of the soil is all gone. And that doesn't make it easier.
Turns like that will either make or break you.
McLean Howell, the last rider of that group.
Yeah, on the Cannondale bike. Cannondale still a big presence in cross-country racing, one of the older mountain biking brands.
Yeah, Mona Mitterwald now, maybe she can have a good race later on.
What can she do today, the young
Second
Austrian?
in Leogang.
Yeah, really impressive in Leogang.
Second at the Europeans last week.
You get the feeling this course will suit her as well.
Yeah,
climbing.
She needs to have a good start. That's most of the time her problem, a little bit.
Yeah, it's a hard one to understand that, because I obviously as a normal human being would get slower as these races went on, but
she goes faster.
Mona Mitterwald comes back towards the front really strong, and we've seen Gina Kaluri do it in the under 23s as well this season, where you don't really see her for the first half of the race. And Lars Forster last time out in the elite men's race.
Yeah. Actually, Yolanda Neff sometimes she can do it as well, so not her best start, and then suddenly
she's back in front.
Yeah,
Lars Forster last time out in Leogang, the elite men's race, we didn't see him until like the last lap and a half, and he was there.
Yeah, and then he was there, and
then he was gone at the front.
And then he got the motivation, adrenaline.
Look how steep it is up here, though. Oh.
Look at Sammy Maxwell is coming back to Ronja Blocklinger.
Yep.
The fight for the second place.
So as we predicted,
Ronja Blocklinger, she's suffering now. This steep part. Yeah, Samara Maxwell is looking strong, overtaking her immediately. She's not waiting at all. 31 seconds back, this group now, these two. Does she have a small technical problem, or exhausted from the course so far?
31 seconds, the gap now back to Blurtlinger.
So strong she is.
Would really love to see her in with the elites bar and just how well she would do there, because she looks like the real deal here.
She looks a little bit outstanding in the 23 category.
Slightly mismatched, yep.
It is, Of course, Ronja Blokling are very strong in short track racing. When it comes down to cross country, most of the time, Sofie Hebby Patterson, she's the strongest. Also like today. Sammy Maxwell here in the white jersey.
And Maxwell up in the second place now. She's gone past Blurtlinger.
Yeah, still riding together. Yeah, but they still have to do another lap if they cross the finish line.
There is still another lap to go in this one. And there is your leader then, Sofie Hebby Patterson.
Looking good for her.
Yeah, we'll see her brother in action shortly in the under-23 men's race. Gustav.
I think that's a back marker here in the black jersey.
Yep, just pulling over to let that chasing group to fourth place past. Gives you an idea the speed the front of this race moves at.
How hard this course is.
Yeah, and how hard it is as well.
The smallest gear wasn't able to push that anymore.
Not pleasant. It's someone who, as we've seen already this season, barely looks like she's taking over at times, Sofie Hebby Patterson. Doesn't look like she's breathing heavily or she's uncomfortable. She's just at the front of the race doing what she does best, building the gap.
Strong in the descents too, huh? Very smooth.
Yeah, very good descender, good to watch. Blurtlinger, Maxwell. This is the chase group then, 31 seconds back.
See how many nations we have. Denmark, Switzerland, New Zealand, Germany, Italy, France.
Yeah, cross-country racing in a really, really healthy place. They're coming from all over the world to compete in the Mountain Bike World Series. At the UCI Mountain Bike World Cup.
That big rock garden.
Yeah, you want to be riders right of that, really is the fastest route you can. There is a line just off to the rider's left, but I don't know, whenever you're absolutely gassed halfway through a cross-country race, it's maybe not the time to get experimental and start trying things.
They do a little bit in practicing and training the days before the race. Also testing their suspension, their tire pressure, different tires, tire choices. It's really necessary to do to find the right setup for a course like this. One more lap, final lap.
One more lap for Sofie Hebby Patterson. Although in this kind of form, you could probably stick 12 more on and she'd probably still be at the front of it. But this is where the battle is going to come from. Blurtlinger versus Maxwell. Who is going to take that second place behind her?
Yeah, Maxwell came back to Ronja Bloklinger, so
yeah,
strong. Maybe.
Maxwell thought about staying out there, you know, then decided to come in, take on water.
Yeah, it's necessary for these riders to take their drinks, their hydration.
Right, go on then, Bart. What's your prediction between these two? Who's going to get second place?
I go for Sammy Maxwell. She came back. I think the morale is there for her. But she closed that gap. Ronja Bloklinger looks like a little bit to me that she blew up a little bit when Sofie Patterson made that attack.
And she looked very, very strong towards the end of the Leogang race, Maxwell as well. When halfway around that last lap there, she really went and attacked and it worked for her.
That's a nice battle for the second place in between these two, Ronja Bloklinger and Sammy Maxwell. 42 seconds back. Yeah, goes up immediately from the start on. Oh, very small gap.
Yep, Maxwell fancies just trucking on, getting the job done as she heads out on this little four-cross section.
Big step-ups on these rocks. Also for these technical parts, you need to have a little bit of extra power. But sometimes it's not there anymore.
No.
It's getting more difficult. A small look back over her shoulder for Sam, and she knows the gap is there.
She's working hard now,
Yeah,
Bart.
now she's pushing really hard. Yeah, looks good. How fast she is.
She knows she can really roll the punches on these climbs, do the damage.
Typical style she has there on the bike. Very easy to recognize. And see how hard it is for Ronja Bloklinger here. Small gear, suffering.
Yeah, it's tough. It's such a tough sport.
Yeah.
When it starts to move away from you on the last lap and you've got nothing left in the tank and you've burnt all the matches, all the other metaphors.
Yeah, all burnt.
It's just, everything's gone, everything's burnt.
Oh, also she's looking back over her shoulder, but there's no one else in vision for her, luckily.
How much trouble am I in? Yeah.
This is the chasing group.
And it can happen to the very best. We saw it happen to Pauline Ferrand-Bravo and Leah again. She just went backwards on the last lap and just didn't have anything left to attack with.
So Ellen McLean-Howell in the GB jersey. Garnier in front of her in the black jersey. Sarah Kortinovis, center approach, here she is. And then you have Sina van Til, black square team. She's leading this chasing group. Shortly we will see an attack of one of these riders, I expect.
Yeah, McLean-Howell hanging in there. But there's no hanging with this woman. Sophie Heavy-Patterson doing it her way from the front, as we're now used to seeing in 2023. "30 seconds to the good ahead of Samara Maxwell." So Maxwell has come back towards her a bit.
Yeah, that stays more like the same, but it means also that Samara Maxwell is having a good race.
She is, she's looking strong.
Fastest lap time so far for Sophie Heavy-Patterson. 15 minutes.
I'd say we could maybe see that go. Maxwell might be on course to beat that on this lap, but she gets away from Blurtlinger.
Yeah, sometimes it's impressive that even when the race comes to the end, that they have the fastest lap time at the end of the race.
It's incredible, isn't it? It defies all logic. But it just goes to show the reserves of energy these top riders have, that they can put in a performance like that so late into a race. McLean-Howell there.
The positions right now, several sections of this course are really necessary to be in a good position. Especially if you are strong in the descent, you have to be the first rider who's entering the descent. Can you see Sammy Maxwell? Actually, she's not that far off.
No, she's not. She's within vision. So
this more like the same. 30 seconds.
Look, we say this every week, don't we? You lose. It's so hard to make time in mountain bike racing. It's very, very easy to lose at one puncture or a broken chain.
Yeah, but also now you see for the third place, when you're blocking her, she lost a lot of time already to the first place.
Blurtlinger's in free fall a wee bit here. Time to ring the alarm bells.
She has the third place. Can she make it to a good end this race?
Yeah, Van Til.
Last lap.
That chasing group is about 2 minutes behind her though.
That's quite a distance, yeah.
It's quite an effort, so she does have a little pocket of time here, Blurtlinger, but she's checking over the shoulder a couple of times there, Bart. She clearly knows that she's in trouble here.
Yeah, if you don't feel well anymore, all your energy is gone. Yeah, then you're in doubt if you can make it till a good end. But so far,
spinning a wheel up there.
Proper shift goes down.
And this is a really tough section where you've got to be so accurate when you're absolutely gassed.
And riders, they can see each other on several places on this course too. 25 seconds now.
No, she is coming back towards the leader.
And if she has the feeling that she's still able to close that gap, she definitely will push harder as she is doing that right now.
Yeah, Heavy-Patterson, just 25 seconds back
now.
There she is, Samara Maxwell.
I think she will have the feeling that she's able to make it till a good end to win this race. Also, she will get informed by the staff people next to the course.
Is that what you want to see from a young rider, Bart, really coming on strong in the second half of a race? That's a good, promising sign, isn't it?
That's definitely a good, promising sign, that's for sure. But also, sometimes you need to have the full package. Also, being in front of the race like Mona Mitterwald or something is not doing. Especially in the elite categories, it's more difficult if there are so many riders in front of you. On many parts of the course, it's difficult to overtake each other. And then you will lose too much time.
And you can get caught up in other people's crashes if you start slowly.
So
Maxwell looks back behind
a good
her.
start in mountain biking is really crucial for a good race, for good results. 24 seconds back for Sammy Maxwell on the second place. This is Sophie Patterson leading the race. And it's steep over there where she is. That's the difference in between the numbers 1 and 2. The second place, Sammy Maxwell in the white jersey. And her cadence is actually very good, very strong. She's fighting hard. Yeah, still all the aggressive style of riding. It means that she still has a lot of energy left. And we know that's second loop, where it's a little bit more flat. That's her best part of the course.
Yep. She seems to really do the damage in there. 24 seconds back now, Maxwell.
It stays similar. Huh?
There she is.
There she is. Now she will see her in front of her. This is going to be exciting.
It is going to be. We could have fireworks at the end of this one.
Sophie is strong.
11 seconds to say
wow,
now.
Only.
So, this is something we haven't seen so far this season.
Nope.
Sophie Patterson having to defend the lead so late in a race.
She has to push hard now. She will take a little bit more risks probably in the descent now to extend the gap a little bit more. Because 11 seconds is not that much for that second loop.
It's not that
wow,
much.
small mistake over there, I thought, to see from Sammy Maxwell.
Little mistake, just dabbed the foot. I wonder if that's cost her time. Yet to see her come through the tunnel.
And we don't see her yet. Here she is.
There she is. It's still saying 11 seconds the gap now, so.
Yeah, you have to wait for someone, it always goes.
Oh,
feels
yeah.
like longer than it is.
A watch pot never boils bar as they head down through these turns. Both very, very good descenders. As, to be honest, most top flight cross-country racers are these days. It's something that's really come into the sport, that downhill technicality.
I think she lost a little bit of a few seconds with that foot out.
I think so. Our screen in the booth is still showing 11 seconds as well, but I think that little bubble may have just cost Maxwell, if not a load of time, then certainly momentum.
Yeah, she's taking all the risks.
Yeah, through the bike into the corner there. Great to see.
And also Sophie.
Here is that little bubble.
We see that again.
You watch the front wheel here, just moves out from underneath her and then dabs with the right foot.
It didn't cost her that much time actually.
She got clipped straight back in again.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, getting reconnected with the pedal is often where the time is lost.
Sophie Patterson knows as well that she's coming. She has to push hard. It's not that far anymore, but there's still a bit of climbing involved. Also in that second loop. Also these sections here that will suit Sophie Patterson well. 15 seconds. Here she comes, to number 2.
Yep, 15 seconds, so 4 seconds were shipped there, and I wonder if that's maybe just cost her that little forward momentum, as I say, that could have brought her back towards the leader of this race, Sophie Patterson. Well, the Villiers Pirelli factory team will have been hopeful of a great success on home soil, and it looks like the young Dane is going to deliver it to them.
Small gear here for her. Still a good cadence on her bike. Still a bit of time to play with. 15 seconds.
It sounds, I don't know, overly simplistic, but Sophie Patterson always looks like she's in the right gear, doesn't she? She always just looks like she's turning the perfect cadence for wherever she is.
Yeah, she's very strong. I mean,
look at her at the top of that climb.
Yeah, but looks like she's suffering too. Still, her body language tells that she's still going fast. She's moving forwards quite okay. A good cadence. There's still something left. She is the number 2. Sammy Maxwell.
She'll see her.
Gap is not that big. 14 seconds. Okay. Another second. But actually from here on the climb keeps on going with some steeper parts in it. see her in front of her. 14 seconds. It's not that long anymore.
It's not that long anymore.
Patterson knows as well that if she is entering the last descent for the first place, she's able to make it.
1:19 back to Blurtlinger, so
that's bigger.
That is bigger.
Blocking actually the distance in between Ronja Bloklinger and the fourth place of that chasing group with Noumi Garnier, Sina Thiel.
Our timing screen saying it's around about 40 seconds back from Blurtlinger to that fourth place group. So there is Blurtlinger. She looks like she's safe enough if she can just get that live.
Oh, but see her
body
home. Language here. She's suffering.
Yeah, just as we saw Sophie Evie Patterson absolutely machining her way up that climb. Blurtlinger in a bit more difficulty.
Third place for Ronja Bloklinger.
Evie Patterson pushing on
she's
here.
Pushing hard, yeah.
She's maybe just decided to kill off this threat from Maxwell. She's very, very strong in this climb though. She has been all race long. Looking over the shoulder, yeah. Better safe than sorry. 22 seconds now, yeah, she's extended that out nicely.
That's looking good for her.
Great bike racing, Bart, to be able to do that so late in the day.
Yeah. So it meant that there was still a little bit left for her. And it's worth to push hard here. Val Di Sole. Looking good for her.
As we jump on board the drone.
We will see more nice shots from the drone today.
The drone's going to be busy today as we get ready to go racing with the under 23 men coming up straight after this. And then later on in the afternoon, the elite women and the elite men, the big guns, come out to play in Val Di Sole, Trentino. And see how much dirt has been carried onto that rock section. There is Sammy Maxwell then, 22 seconds back now, the Kiwi.
Second place.
Looked like for half a lap there she was going to rejoin the front.
Yeah, the great race for her.
Really, really strong.
Under 23 cross country olimpico al femminile del Val Di Sole e adesso caro Randy, caro Martino, l'attesa per seconda posizione, lei forse era la meno attesa, ma è stata grandiosa nella presa, la seconda piazza Samara Maxwell.
Yep, Samara Maxwell, she did the work, found a way to case back and is going to be second place today for Samara Maxwell.
Gigantesca seconda posizione per Samara Maxwell dalla Nuova Zelanda. Il distacco 37 secondi per lei.
Sta arrivando anche Donne, ce l'ha fatta riuscita a venire ma responsabile per la posizione. Mai esce l'ultimo locale.
Ancora ormai si prende l'applauso anche la Bloklinger nel tratto conclusivo. Guardo alle spalle per Bloklinger.
On towards the finish line now, and there celebrations at the finish area. Maxwell can't believe it. Taking on water as the temperatures continue to rise here in Val Di Sole, Trentino. Ronja Blurtlinger crosses the line. looks round her. Extremely strong first half of the race, but just faded slightly towards the end of it. Blurtlinger, impressive nonetheless. Third place then for the Swiss star.
Still a great ride for Ronja Blöcklinger.
Still a great rider, yeah. Apologies for any audio issues we had there. The debrief begins for Sophie Heavy Patterson. Another case of job well done.
Numa Garnier on 4th place, coming in the finish line.
Garnier. Good race for that hotly contested 4th spot. Van Thiel will take 5th.
Yeah, Sina Van Thiel.
And Ellen McLean-Howell.
Oh, what a ride for her.
What a ride for her. In 6th place, just behind her. Celebrates, yep, happy with that one.
She's first year in the 23 women.
Making good progress.
She does. Well, Burry coming in for the fight on the 7th place. Sarah Kortinovis.
Sarah Kortinovis, we would have maybe expected a bit more from her today on home soil. 8th place for the Italian. Sophie Heavy Patterson still got enough energy left to sign some autographs.
Signing the jerseys. Autographs.
They'll be in here in a second, Bart, looking for yours. And there is Gina Carlori.
Yeah, from Switzerland.
9th place. 3 minutes 28 back off the winner, Sophie Heavy Patterson.
Tamara Wittmann coming into the finish line.
Widman, strong race for her.
A top 10.
Yep, 10th place. Trek Future Racing. Celebrates.
She's happy with that.
Yeah, good
nice
result. She knows it, the Austrian.
Yeah, it's a hard course here in Val Di Sole.
It's a hard physical.
I'm joined by Sophie Heavy Patterson. What another fantastic result on the World Cup. And so here in Val Di Sole, a tough race. Did you expect to be defending on that final lap? Because Sammy was really coming back behind you.
Yeah, I think it's the hardest race I have ever done. So it was. I'm so tired right now, but so heavy. Sammy was so fast today. I could feel from the beginning that she was faster in the beginning today. So I knew that she was super strong. Yeah.
So where did you have to go to get that energy to really kind of continue attacking and holding that top spot?
I had no energy. It was just I just wanted to win this one. It was super hard because me and Ronja was together for the first 3 laps, and we were like attacking all the time. So I think I was just out of energy in the last lap, but I was able to keep going. Yeah.
Fantastic result. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sophie Heavy Patterson then wins in some style yet again in 2023.
On one of the hardest courses, she said. Yeah,
Definitely.
it is.
One of the hardest places to do it. But
What a win.
The Dane got it done.
She did it again. And there's a little bit of time for these riders to relax for the first part of the season, which is done right now, and then to build up for the second part, I would say, with World Championships and so much more World Cups coming up.
Plenty more racing left in this season. Here are the results then. Sophie Heavy Patterson, Samara Maxwell, Ronja Blurtlinger, Garnier, Van Thiel, McLean-Howell, Burry, Kortinovis, Kaluri and Widman are your top 10. 38 seconds the winning margin. Patterson out front and in control. Stunning part of Italy, this Val Di Sole Trentino. Loads more racing to come today. And here are the highlights of the under-23 women's cross-country Olympic race.
A little bit of a crash immediately after the start, so some riders went down.
Doesn't take much. At the front, Blurtlinger.
Yeah, we had a fight in between Ronja Blöcklinger and Sophie Heavy Patterson, and here we see a little bit of a mistake, and it shows how difficult this course is.
It's just awkward everywhere, isn't it? That's the thing about it.
Yeah. Big roots, rocks everywhere, and then the battle for a win between these two.
Blurtlinger looking really, really good in the first half of the race. They distanced Sammy Maxwell in 3rd place.
Yeah, Sammy Maxwell, she never wasn't that far off. Fighting for the win as well. Was even a little bit leading into this race.
Yep, she was at the front for a couple of minutes, and then Heavy Patterson, Blurtlinger lifted the pace once more, rode away from her slightly.
But it was also Sophie Heavy-Patterson who was controlling the race.
And then this attack was the attack that eventually won it. Sophie Heavy-Patterson went at the bottom of the climb and just winched on the pressure. And Ronja Blurtlinger didn't have an answer for her today.
And even after she blew up a little bit, and that's why Sammy Maxwell came back to her and overtook her as well. When it came down to the last lap.
Came down the last lap, Maxwell all of a sudden was back with Blurtlinger, and then she was past Blurtlinger.
And here we see that no answer of Ronja Blurtlinger of the attack of Sammy Maxwell in the final lap. Even she came very close to Sophie Heavy-Patterson. Here we see the distance in between these two in the last part of the course. Only 15 seconds it was. But it was Sophie Heavy-Patterson who had everything in control when it came down to the last descent of this race.
Yep. And it was Sophie Heavy-Patterson who took another win in 2023. Sammy Maxwell, though, impressed just about everyone. Yet again, the best of the rest in 2nd place for 8 seconds back.
And that's mountain biking.
That is mountain bike racing. Here's confirmation then. Sophie Heavy-Patterson, from Samara Maxwell, Ronja Blurtlinger, Noemi Garnier, Zina Van Thiel, Ellen McLean-Howell, Bury, Courtney Novus, Kaluri and Vidman are your top 10. Jashinska in 11th, Cuthbert 12th. Madigan Monroe was in 18th.
Sammy, what a fantastic result. 2nd here in Val Di Sole. I mean, trying to take us through that final lap and trying to close the gap between Sophie.
I was riding with Ronja at the start and I was like, oh, this is going to be a tough battle. I knew she was so strong on the flats. So up that climb, I just gave it everything. And then we got to the feed zone and someone was like, oh, 20 seconds. So up the final climb, I just gave it everything to try across the gap. And I was real cross-eyed, so I took the B line and I crashed anyway. But no, it was an amazing racing, yeah.
And a fantastic result, of course. How important is to have, finishing 2nd here in Val Di Sole for you?
It means so much to back it up. You know, you always get one result and you're like, oh, maybe it was just a fluke, or maybe Leo Gang just sorted, so like the track suited me. So to back it up on a course like this where there's flat, there's a bit of technical stuff, it means so much, yeah.
Fantastic, congratulations.
Thank you.
It looks like she's coming into a great shape and also one of the contenders for winning for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and importantly as well, Bart, looks like she's really enjoying herself.
Yeah.
Looks like she's enjoying her racing. And it can be tough whenever you've got such a dominant force in the same race as Sophie Heavy-Patterson to go out there every week and try and find an answer.
But she almost had it.
Ronja, a very strong race for you today. A tough one out there this morning. Great result. You finished 3rd on the podium. How did it go for you?
Yeah, I made some mistakes in the race, in the downhills. I knew that I'm technically really strong and I wanted to push really in the downhill, but yeah, I made some 2 big mistakes in the downhill and destroyed myself in the downhill. Yeah.
But you still managed to finish up on the podium. You know, you did persist. You did have that energy in you to finish in 3rd place.
Yeah, actually, I'm really happy that I got 3rd, but I still tried to get Sophie one day.
All right. Thank you very much and congratulations.
They are Ronja Blurtlinger. Plenty more racing ahead for her. she'd dearly love to start backing up those really strong short track performances with some win in the Olympic discipline as well.
Yeah, she's very strong in short track. The race that she won last Thursday here in Val Di Sole. Analyzing the races between these three.
Sophie Heavy Patterson pretending she found an element of that very difficult. These three massive talents, and I'm sure we will see them all competing. It's one of the really nice things about cycling in general, Bart, is that, you know, athletes grow up racing together. They know each other really, really well by the time they get to the elite ranks.
They do, yeah. It is. But in the elite category, they will find so much more high talented athletes, which makes it more difficult to perform immediately on the highest level to win the races.
Well, Blurtlinger, the Swiss national champion, onto the podium first.
One of the dominant players in the XCO, ladies and gentlemen, third today, aus der Schweiz, Ronja Blurtlinger.
Ronja Blurtlinger then, third place today.
In the second place from New Zealand is Samara Maxwell.
Well, second place, Sammy Maxwell takes to the stage. And whenever you've got such a force, Sophie Heavy Patterson out front, a highly, highly respectable result. A young woman really, really enjoying her racing this season. Was so strong.
She came very close.
Yeah, towards the end of the race. Not a million miles off, Bart.
No. And she will have a little bit of a better start. She might be in for a win, but that will come later this season.
There she is, then your winner today, Sophie Heavy Patterson.
Strong ride she showed us today.
Yeah, the dominant force at the minute in women's under 23 racing. Ronja Blurtlinger has answers for her in the short track, but in the longer discipline, Heavy Patterson comes into her own. The winner then for Villiers Pirelli factory team, Sophie Heavy Patterson. From Samara Maxwell and Ronja Blurtlinger in third place.
And now it is time, early in the morning, but still, after such a race, why not? Let's.
Yep, as the announcer says, it is early in the morning for champagne, but come on,
why not?
These three deserve it. Yeah, Bart and I don't have any in here, sadly, but
champagne breakfast. That's
champagne for breakfast, that's the best, yeah. These three know all about it.
And they do.
Congratulations, ladies. Next mission for most of this crew will be the World Championships in Glasgow, Scotland. We'll be seeing you there. Congratulations to Samara, Ronja, and Sophie.
Yeah, Sophie Heavy Patterson will stay where she is because she has got the overall points jersey to collect as well.
Okay, when I go for the Zoom meeting, maybe they can tell me a little bit more about the details for the elite categories.
There we go then, the overall jersey goes to, guess who? Sophie Heavy Patterson.
Her way to the finish line, a jersey that she will wear as we will meet up at the end of August in Andorra. Sophie Heavy Patterson,
Sophie Heavy Patterson leads the overall series, and we will get confirmation of those standings and how they look after that one any second.
Congratulations. So we'll now turn our attention to our U23 minute race coming up very soon.
Grazie, appuntamento tra poco per la gara Under 23 maschile.
Sophie Heavy Patterson then wins in style in Italy. So she leads the way by 162 points now from Ronja Blerklinger. Gina Kaluri is in third, 223 back. Sammy Maxwell in fourth, 232 back in the Wellbury. Rounds out the top five. Then it's Garnier, Van Thiel, Kortenovas, Monroe, Johnson behind them. Well, that is it. The next race coming up is the absolute firecracker, the men's under 20 free race here from Val Di Sole, Trentino in Italy. It promises to be an absolute belter as ever. Thank you for joining us for the women's under 23. Don't go anywhere. We've got some superb racing headed your way very, very shortly. Thanks for watching.